everybody, and welcome back to Aamsuntitledpodcast. I'm Am. Hi, if you've never met me before, it's really nice to meet you. Welcome to my Percy Jackson dedicated podcast. I recently started a series on my podcast, which is the best of Percabeth. In other words, I talk about my favourite Percabeth moments in the TV show and in the first 5 books. So I've done those so far. So today we're going to be moving on to the best of Percabeth in Heroes of Olympus. So we're going to start with Mark of Athena, where Percy and Annabeth are finally reunited. And believe me when I say I was so happy that they were finally back together. With Heroes of Olympus, I've done something slightly different, which is I've only picked a few moments as opposed to what I did with the first 5 books. I had a lot more moments for each book, but this time I really narrowed it down because, of course, these books are written from multiple people's perspective as opposed to the first 5 books, which are written from Percy's perspective. So there aren't as many Percabeth moments, but the moments that I found are very, very cute, and I had to pick them for this, basically. So the first Percabeth moment that we're going to be talking about is the scene where Percy and Annabeth are reunited, and I've got the exact quote from the book as well, which is, Annabeth grabbed his wrist and flipped him over her shoulder. He slammed into the stone pavement. Romans cried out, some surged forward, but Raina shouted, hold, stand down. Annabeth put her knee on Percy's chest. She pushed her forearm against his throat. She didn't care what the Romans thought. A white, hot lump of anger expanded in her chest, tumor of worry and bitterness that she'd been carrying around since last autumn. If you ever leave me again, she said, her eyes stinging, I swear to all the gods. Percy had the nerve to laugh. Suddenly, the lump of heated emotions melted inside Annabeth. Consider me warned, Percy said. I missed you too. Annabeth rose and helped him to his feet. She wanted to kiss him again so badly, but she managed to restrain herself. You know what? I have to say, I love that she judo flips him. Like, she's honestly such a queen. It is one of the reasons why she's one of my favorite characters. She's one of those people where you don't know what to expect. So for her, at this moment in time, she doesn't know whether she wants to kiss the life out of him because she's missed him so much, or be completely pissed off at him because he abandoned her. Of course, he didn't abandon her by choice, but that's how it must be feeling for her. And it's very real. Like, the way I was thinking about this, and with the relationships and that I've seen between my friends and family, just an observation that I've made is just that, I don't know about anybody else for this, so tell me if I'm chatting BS, but the way I see it is that, I'm sure anyone in a relationship will agree that the partner, so your significant other, nobody can piss you off like your significant other. Like, they just reach a whole other level of anger, and I think that's exactly what's going on in Annabeth's mind in this moment. Like, of course she's missed him, like, she loves him, she missed him, but it's just, you don't know, she doesn't, I don't know how to describe it. Like, she doesn't know whether she's angry at Percy or if she was angry at their um situation. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? I don't know. But yeah, that quote, I just had to pull that full quote because I was just like, that's just too funny. Like, I found it absolutely hilarious, and I was so happy that they were finally reunited because honestly, 2 books of not having them both together really hurt my feelings. And I was just like, oh my god, I just want them to come back together so badly, and now they are. So thank you, Rick, for that, for torturing me for 2 whole books. But he definitely makes up for it in the moments that he gives us in Mark of Athena, but we'll come to those moments in just a second. The second moment that I wanted to talk about, which is it kind of makes me laugh, but it doesn't at the same time, is the scene where Annabeth finds out that Percy has turned down Raina. So obviously Raina made a move on him, and Percy turned her down because of Annabeth. And, in her mind, I didn't pull the quote for this bit, I should have. And she basically tells the audience that she's forgiven him for everything that he's done up until this point. And it comes back to this whole idea of Percy being the ultimate Riz master. Like, he has pulled, from what I can remember, I think it's 4 or 5 people in the first 5 books and in the beginning of Heroes of Olympus. So let's talk about this. So he's pulled Nico, he pulled Annabeth, he pulled Rachel, he pulled Raina, and I can't remember if there's another person that he's pulled that I'm forgetting, but those are the main 4 people that I always remember. And it's just like, I think Percy just has this charm about him. But what I love about him is the fact that he's so dense and oblivious that he doesn't know himself that he's got it. He's got this modesty and this humbleness that I think people find really attractive. And I think that's also what pulls Annabeth towards him as well. Like, I always describe Percy as like this magnetic force that people can't help but feel drawn to. And, I'm so happy that he turned Raina down because, as I was reading the book, like, when you have those moments where you like clench your fists and your jaw and you're just like, oh, she's really, really putting it out there. But at least, well, I don't know if Percy picked up on it straight away or if it took him a bit of time, but at least he's turned her down. So thank God for that. The next scene that I wanted to talk about is probably one of my favorite Percabeth scenes, which is the scene where Annabeth to um, calls out to Percy for help by throwing her dagger into the sea. And he comes out of the water and he says, "You drop this." And it's just one of those moments where you just know that no matter what happens, like he'll always be there for her no matter what. And their connection is just next level. Like the fact that she had confidence that if I throw my dagger into the sea, he'll come. Like she has that amount of belief and faith in him. And like it was just beautiful. Like that moment is just, oh, so sweet. And then she says, "I love you" after that. And I'm so happy that she said it first because, you know, I love that she's one of those people that always makes the first move. And I I just love her for that. Like I love that boldness that she has. And it's just a message to all those people out there that guys, look, there's nothing wrong with making the first move. Like if you have a crush on someone and they're oblivious of Percy, sometimes you just got to put yourself out there. And it can be quite difficult, but I think that there's nobody that does it as good as Annabeth and I love her for that. She's an absolute queen. I love her. The next Percabeth moment that I wanted to talk about is I've got the quote here as well because I couldn't help it and I just had to, you know, grab the whole quote because I'm an idiot. uh, is the quote which is Percy smiled at her, that sarcastic troublemaker smile that had annoyed her for years but eventually had become endearing. His sea green eyes were as gorgeous as she remembered. His dark hair was swept to one side like he'd just come from a walk on the beach. He looked even better than he had 6 months ago. Tanner and taller, leaner and more muscular. Guys, this girl is swooning. Like she's I mean, who wouldn't? Percy is crushworthy, let's be honest. Like, oh, he's one of those fictional characters that you can't help but fall in love with. And Rick, you've created a solid character. And he's not just attractive because of his heroic or demigod side. Like he genuinely has a really attractive personality, and I love that. The rest of the quote is Percy threw his arms around her. They kissed, and for a moment, nothing else mattered. An asteroid could have hit the planet and wiped out all life, and Annabeth wouldn't have cared. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's just so much in that one moment that I can't I just can't get over them. Like they're just so cute. And there's this reoccurring theme that Rick puts in the book that there is nothing that could happen to them and like nothing matters in those moments apart from the two of them. Like nothing's more important than them. And I love that. Like those moments are just so wholesome. And the fact that, Annabeth realized that over the years, like that smile that she always found like annoying is actually she actually found it endearing and it made her more and more attractive. And not her, him, sorry, not her. But it's just I just thought it was so real. Like people go through those stages. Like at the beginning, that person can seem like very annoying, but then you realize over time that actually they're not annoying at all. And I think that's what happened with Annabeth. I think Percy being away from her just completely just changed the way that she feels about him. Like if she didn't love him before, like she loves him absolutely immensely now. And I love that. I'm glad that they've had such an amazing progression. And it's so nice because the first 5 books was such a slow burn. And now we get moments like this in Heroes of Olympus. And like it makes my shipping heart so happy because I've been waiting for these moments and they're finally happening. So thank you to Rick for them because they're just they're written so beautifully. Like there is nobody that can just not swoon reading these moments. The next scene that I was going to talk about is from the quote, which is, "And Annabeth continued, it reminds me of how long we've known each other. We were 12, Percy. Can you believe that? Like, she's been harboring these feelings since she was 12. Like from the moment she first met him, it's almost like she knew. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. And he says, no, he admitted. So you knew you liked me from that moment. She smirked. I hated you at first. She's so real. She's so real for that. I love her. I love her. And the rest of the quote is, "You annoyed me. Then I tolerated you for a few years. Then it says, okay, fine." And then she leaned in and kissed him, a good proper kiss, without anyone watching. No Romans anywhere. No screaming Slater chaperones. She pulled away. I missed you, Percy. Oh, guys. They're just, they're too cute. Like, they have the ability to melt somebody like me who has the most unromantic heart, although you guys probably can't tell from from these podcast episodes. It's just like, it just, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's just like, wow. You know how much they've evolved? Like, that is what I call relationship growth. Like, they've grown together and, you know, they've gone from being these kids who started off as like strangers, to rivals, to questmates, to friends and best friends, and of course now lovers. And, it's such a beautiful transition that they've had. And Rick has made it like happen so like effortlessly. Like it's so effortless that sometimes it can be overlooked by people. But when you really read it, like not just with your eyes or like listen to it with your ears, when you read it with your heart and you can just literally feel things, it's just insane. And again, all the credit goes to Rick. He's such a phenomenal writer. And I hope that he keeps writing. Like, even if he's writing Percy Jackson in 10 years, like, I swear to you, like, I'll still be reading them. Like, I'll still think that they're amazing. And hopefully I'll still be doing this podcast so I can sit here and share that with you guys. Although I imagine everybody would have probably gotten sick of me by then. I mean, I'd be what? 10 years' time, I'd be like close to my 30s. So I don't think anybody's going to want to hear from me then. But yeah, I just love them. So there's a second part to this moment as well. I've written all this down as well, which is Percy wanted to tell her the same thing, but it seemed too small a comment. While he had been on the Roman side, he'd kept himself alive almost solely by thinking of Annabeth. I missed you, didn't really cover that. Oh, the moments just get better and better. Like in Heroes of Olympus, I think they have some of the best Percabeth moments just because they've had this separation from each other. And like even in their separation, you can just feel their longing for each other. And I'm glad that he thinks that just saying I love you or I missed you isn't enough to tell her how much he really cares. Like he stayed alive so that he could see her again. And oh my gosh, if that's not true love, I don't know what is. Like I couldn't tell you guys because I've had no experience of it personally, but I'm so happy that my two fictional babies, Percy and Annabeth, have that and I'm so happy for them. And like I said, I'm really excited to see what Rick does in Wrath of the Triple Goddess and of course the next book that's going to come after that. Hopefully this podcast will still be going on and we can read those together and fangirls together. Anyway, the next moment that I wanted to talk about is the quote, which is Percy said, "But while if I was there, I saw so many demigods living without fear, kids going to college, couples getting married and raising families. There's nothing like that at a Camp Half-Blood. I kept thinking about you and me, and maybe someday when this war with the giants is over." It was hard to tell in the golden light, but he thought Annabeth was blushing. "Oh," she said. "I'm sorry," he said. I had to think of something that kept me going, to give me hope. Forget I mentioned. No," she said. God's Percy, that's so sweet. Guys, he's imagined this whole life with her. Isn't that just insane? Like, he has hope that, after this war is over, he'll finally get to be with her and, like, they can get married and grow old together and have kids. Like, isn't that just the sweetest thing? Honestly, I was like, wow. And I'm glad that she's the person that gives him this hope for a better life and that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There's that saying. And I think Annabeth is that light for him. Oh my God. Wow, 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 wow. Rick. He really, really knows how to tug at my heartstrings, I swear. Like, I felt that. Honestly, like, I felt that twinge in my heart. That was honestly the sweetest thing that any guy I think can ever say is like that. Oh my God. Wow, wow. And he even managed to make Annabeth blush. Like that's amazing. Like nobody can really catch her off guard like that. But with Percy, it just comes so naturally. Oh my gosh. They're so cute. They're so cute. I love them. Thank you, Rick, for Percy and Annabeth is all I can say. The next moment that I wanted to talk about was a bit of a funny moment where Percy and Annabeth obviously get caught by Coach Hedge. They've been, of course, sitting together the whole night, and Percy says kissed a couple of times. God damn it, Percy. But you know what, I'm so happy that he's not ashamed that um he's with her, or like they're together. Like he's honestly so, like, it's hard to be mad at him because he's so adorable, if you know what I mean. Like if my boyfriend had said that, like that would make me so embarrassed. But the fact that Percy is saying that, like with Annabeth, and like I think it makes Annabeth a little bit flustered as well, which I think is really cute. I'm glad that he brings that reaction out of her. But god damn it, there was no need to tell. The coach didn't ask, but he said it anyway. So maybe it's the ADHD, those intrusive thoughts just coming out. I don't know, but yeah, they're so cute. And the final moment that I wanted to talk about is the scene where, of course, Annabeth is literally hanging off the edge of the boat. And, she says to him, Percy, look, you can't pull me up. Like, just let me go. And he says, we're staying together, he promised. You're not getting away from me, never again. And that moment made me cry because it was like he would rather fall to his death with her than live a life without her. And that is the biggest gesture of love that I've ever seen. And they just both fall into the darkness together. And that's how the book ends. Honestly, when I read Mark of Athena, I was crying by the end. I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God, Rick, don't do this to me. And it ended on such a cliffhanger. And it was one of those moments where I was like, oh my God. I was like, my favorite couple did not just die. Like, they did not just do that. Of course, I knew that they weren't dead, but I was just like, whoa. I've only read Heroes of Olympus once, and I was trying my best to avoid spoilers when I read it. But that moment, honestly, it caused this emotional tornado inside me, and I was just like, whoa. I was crying by the end, and I was like, whoa. And I was adamant about picking up House of Hades because I was like, I just need to know that Percy and Annabeth are together. Like, I just need to know that they're okay. Typical fangirl. I wasn't concerned about anything else. I was just concerned about Percy and Annabeth. But yeah, like I said, Mark of Athena had some of those best moments, and I think those moments were even more special because they were finally reunited. So let's sort of round this up with my final thoughts. So, like I said, it was so nice to have Percy and Annabeth reunited. They really missed each other, and you can feel that in the books. And again, that's all kudos to Rick, his beautiful writing style that is able to evoke these emotions in you that no other writer can. And guys, we finally got an I Love You, which is so cute. Like, I've only been waiting, like, what, 7 books for this. So it was well worth waiting 7 books for it, and it was totally worth it. And I hope that their love is always like this. And they have a standard of love that is untouchable, I think. And I can't wait to see what the show does with it. And I really hope one day they move on to Heroes of Olympus. Like, I'd really like to see that. Even if there were movies as opposed to a TV show, like, I wouldn't mind that either. And of course, that last scene where Percy and Annabeth fall into Tartarus together, I love that they go down together, and that Percy makes this promise that he'll never leave her, and that they'll stay together no matter what. And he really does hold on to that promise, and I love that about them. So yeah, like I said, this whole Percabeth business was a whole emotional roller coaster in Mark of Athena, but I loved it, and it was great.
Someone is at the front.
Sorry, what was I saying? I got interrupted because the doorbell went off. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, I was talking about the whole emotional roller coaster thing. So yeah, we had some great Percabeth moments, and we also had the moment where they nearly died together, which was um very it was a very tear-jerking moment, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so next episode is gonna be the best Percabeth moments in House of Hades. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget my episodes are available to stream on my YouTube channel and on Spotify. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel whilst you are there. It will be very much appreciated. You can follow me on Spotify as well if you wish. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and on Threads. They're both at Aamsuntitledpodcast. And I will speak to you guys in the next episode. Mwah! Bye!